Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the show formerly known as Obi Wan Kenobi. Episode 6, Part 6, the season finale for what I can only hope will be the one and only season for Obi Wan Kenobi. Ladies and gentlemen, the complete deconstruction of Obi Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, and the lore that is Star Wars, the steps from Episode 3 to Episode 4 have completely been tarnished. The lore is gone. Continuity is dead. Reva the character is a walking, living, breathing continuity error. This whole show, its whole entire point was to deconstruct and delegitimize Obi Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader in their sour, poor attempt to lift up and prop up their own created characters. Poorly written characters played by a terrible actress. This show was a stepping stool for Reva. That's all it was. This show was a stepping stool, was a platform for Leia and Reva. That's all it really was. It was a fugazi. They sold you on the fact that this was going to be an Obi-Wan Darth Vader show, and that is not what we got, ladies and gentlemen. This show was merely a platform disguised as an Obi-Wan Darth Vader show in an attempt to shoehorn in their own terrible, shitty characters, because Disney and Lucasfilm do not know how to make creative new characters. So they have to disguise you and trick you and do a bait and switch to promote their new shitty written characters because they think that you're fucking stupid. This entire series, directed by Deborah Chow, I don't wish for anybody to ever be fired from their job or let go, but I think clearly Deborah Chow was not ready at all to be the sole director of this series. Deborah Chow has a lot to learn as far as directing and creativity goes. She was very much hyped up for her 2 episodes that she directed of The Mandalorian, and she was gifted with a bow on top this Obi Wan Kenobi series that should have been a movie, but it's criminal. This show should have never been made under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, Lucasfilm. You're taking the most iconic, legendary Jedi Masters in Obi Wan Kenobi and gift-wrapped it to a director who knows not one fuck of what she's doing. I actually kind of feel sorry for Deborah Chow because she clearly was not ready. She clearly did not know what the fuck she was doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to get right to the point of all the ridiculousness of what this final episode of what hopefully is the one and only season of Kenobi that we get. We start off with our group of rebels escaping Darth Vader in his Star Destroyer. We quickly learn that this ship, of course, has no hyperdrive. We have Ice Cube Son trying his hardest to get the hyperdrive back up, but the shields, they're not going to hold up against this Star Destroyer. Well, no fucking shit it's not going to. Ice Cube's son tells Obi-Wan that we don't have enough time. So Obi-Wan makes the rational decision that he needs to go in an escape pod to draw Darth Vader away from this group of rebels, to distract them from Leia so that Darth Vader cannot get or find out about little Leia. Then, of course, we cannot forget that Leia is the smartest girl in the entire galaxy. You cannot forget that. She is the most intelligent person in the entire galaxy. You must not forget, because the show will remind you that she is that. So Leia throws a fit. Leia says, "You can't. You swore you would protect me, Obi-Wan." Obi-Wan has to tell Leia, "Darth Vader is after me. I am putting all of you in danger." So little Leia Organa finally accepts that Obi-Wan may be right. So Obi-Wan does leave on an escape pod. Meanwhile, by the way, Reva is already on Tatooine. We start this episode where Reva is already on Tatooine. We see that the rebels are in their ship and the Star Destroyer is chasing this rebel ship. But somehow, because of reasons, Reva is already on Tatooine. How the fuck is this possible? Why? How? How did she get there? She is fucking wounded, crippled. She should be. How does she end up on Tatooine so fucking quick. This is just more unexplained instant teleportation that this show just wants you to fucking forget about. So Reva, who is completely uninteresting, unintimidating, not intimidating at all, not scary, but of course the script, the plot, calls for her to be this super intimidating badass. So she's wearing a hood, and she's just glaring at everybody, smacking people's coffee out of their fucking hand, and says, "Where is Owen?" Like, is that supposed to be intimidating? Is this supposed to be frightening? Because it's not. This actress does not know how to be intimidating. The group of writers for this show does not know how to write an intimidating character. That's why they had to hijack Darth Vader, because Darth Vader is the most intimidating villain of all time. I gotta say that the Reva tracking down Owen and Luke is one of the most drawn out, least suspenseful, because they're trying their hardest to make this a very suspenseful story arc. As far as in this episode, Reva slowly tracking down the moisture farm, and to get to Owen, and to get to Luke. It is the most drawn out, slow burning, anticlimactic arc I think I've ever seen in Star Wars. Even worse than Rian Johnson or J.J. Abrams can do. I would argue that this series of Kenobi could even possibly be worse than The Last Jedi. So Darth Vader tells the Grand Inquisitor that he is going to face Kenobi, and he tells an officer, "Prepare my ship. I'm going to take on Kenobi myself." So, another thing I want to point out, when Obi Wan Kenobi's escape pod was trying to outmaneuver this Star Destroyer, it looked terrible. It looked like 2003 fucking video game graphics. I couldn't understand why the direction they went with this animation and these graphics for Obi-Wan's escape pod when he is trying to maneuver his way from the blaster shots from the Star Destroyer. It looked fucking awful. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know how that got past editing. And if it was Deborah Chow who had the final look at it and said, "Oh, you know what? That actually looks fucking great." Well, it's not a surprise, because the poor directing that Deborah Chow did this entire season, it would not surprise me that she was okay with this shitty CGI direction that they chose to go with Obi-Wan's escape pod escaping the Star Destroyer. Terrible. So they get down to this rock planet. They didn't give a name of this planet. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the Exegol or whatever it was. It was just this flat desert planet that seems to always be dark. And there's just these natural stone pillars everywhere. So Darth Vader chases Obi-Wan down, follows him down to this planet. And Darth Vader's first words are, "Did you come here to end me, Obi-Wan?" I'm sorry, Darth. You were the one that followed Obi-Wan here. You were the one to follow Obi-Wan here. So that was kind of odd. I didn't understand that line of dialogue. Maybe they're running out of James Earl Jones lines, because I will stand corrected. In a previous video, I did say that James Earl Jones came back to reprise his role as the voice of Darth Vader. Well, apparently, Lucasfilm has developed this entire engine based off of, they can now synthetically produce James Earl Jones' voice, because they have enough lines from other previous Star Wars entertainment that they can synthetically produce James Earl Jones, where at moments it sounds great, and there's other moments where it clearly sounds not so good. So they start fighting, and of course, the lazy, uncreative writers of this show, they have to totally hijack lines that have already been delivered. In Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan says, "I will do what I must." Which, by the way, did you notice that Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber first? Isn't that like the Jedi test? The Jedi are supposed to be, on the defense, and they fight in self-defense, and they wait for their enemy to attack first to then ignite their lightsaber. Well, Obi-Wan failed the test. Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber and said, "Then I will do what I must." And then Darth Vader says, "You will die," or something like that. Whatever Anakin said in Revenge of the Sith, it's the exact same lines of dialogue delivered between the both of them. Completely hijacked the dialogue from Revenge of the Sith. You got nothing else better, Lucasfilm? You can't make something a little bit more creative, something that's more relevant to this story that you're trying to tell, you have to hijack lines already delivered from their first fight, which should have been the last fight before they meet in Star Wars A New Hope. But it'll be fine. Just don't think about it. So they start to fight. And this fight might have one of the very few small positives that I sort of kind of found entertaining in this entire episode. We'll get into that a little bit later. So they fight. Darth Vader, for the first part of the fight, is completely owning Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is standing his ground. Darth Vader even says, "Your strength is back, Obi-Wan. But your weakness will be your demise, or your weakness is why you will fail," because he still has his weakness, or Darth Vader still considers him a weak old man, even though Obi-Wan has seemed to regain all of his Force strength back. So Darth Vader puts his hand on the ground and opens up a crater in this planet, throws Obi-Wan inside of it, and then is just tossing pillars, rocks, more pillars on top of Obi-Wan. But Obi-Wan is holding it up with the Force, and he is about to give up. But, of course, we all forgot. And you know what? We should have fucking realized. It's our fault, really. It's our fault. We should have realized. We didn't know that Obi-Wan, the source of his power, is all because of his affection towards little Leia. I don't know how we miss it, ladies and gentlemen. We should have known this. We should have known that that's why in the prequels that Anakin's unborn daughter was the source of Obi-Wan's greatness. That's why he was such a great Jedi Master. He just knew. He knew that Anakin's unborn daughter was the source of his power. What drives him and gives him motivation to be the awesome Jedi Master that he is. We should have known. But that's what happens. He only escapes this rubble, being suffocated by these pillars, these rock pillars, only when he remembers little Leia. Then he, boom! All of the rocks explode and he jumps out of there because his love for little Leia, that is what's most important. So then, as Darth Vader's walking away, he thinks he has defeated Obi-Wan. We have the second part of the fight, where Obi-Wan is now overpowering Darth Vader. Obi-Wan, he does the Rey thing from Last Jedi, where Disney's poor attempt to show us even more so how powerful Rey was, as she picks up all the rocks and all the rocks are floating around her, because I guess that's what makes Jedi look cool. So Obi-Wan literally does the exact same fucking thing. He just picks up all these rocks, he lifts up his arms to the side, and all of these rocks are just floating behind him, and he's just throwing these rocks one after another at Darth Vader, which, by the way, Darth Vader would have fucking died right there just by sheer blunt force trauma of being hit by these fucking rocks. I watched this show a second time, and I watched this fight very carefully. He may have been using some force to break apart these rocks so they would not be hurting him as much, but definitely some of them landed some good hits on him. So this tires Darth Vader out. And then Obi-Wan, there's several parts actually in this fight where Obi-Wan would have been fucking dead. Should have been. Darth Vader hits him in the nose. Darth Vader hits Obi-Wan in the nose with the butt of his lightsaber. And right there at that moment, Darth Vader could have just fucking stabbed him right in the fucking gut, or, cut his head off, done something, cut his arm off. It would have been very easy. And then, no joke, like 15 seconds after that, Darth Vader grabs another rock and sweeps the rock underneath Obi-Wan's feet, and Obi-Wan is now laying on the ground. Totally an easy opportunity for Darth Vader to just stab him, whack him, but it doesn't happen. Several times, Obi-Wan could have been fucking dead. But just the choreography of the fight was a little awkward. I don't know. Well, obviously, Obi-Wan can't fucking die because he dies in episode 4, but it's unrealistic when you have this shit choreography and you totally see windows that should have been taken where either Obi-Wan or Darth Vader could have easily ended it. But for the sake of that, we have episodes 4, 5, and 6 that come after this. They couldn't take those opportunities. So then why put those opportunities out there in the first place? So then Obi-Wan, towards the tail end of the fight, he's now taking his butt end of his lightsaber and he is hacking away at all the mechanics on Darth Vader's chest. And he's like ripping them apart, and Darth Vader's now having a hard time to breathe. And Obi-Wan sees a window and he slices the back of Darth Vader. So now his back is wounded now. Darth Vader is really hurt. And now Obi-Wan jumps on this rock and then propels himself towards Darth Vader and whacks away at his helmet. Cuts part of Darth Vader's helmet off. And now here's another stolen valor. We've already seen this scene in Star Wars Rebels with Ahsoka, and when Darth Vader, you can see Anakin's eye, half of his face underneath Darth Vader's mask. This is total robbery. This is robbery. We've already seen this. But this is the part where I said this was, one of the parts where I can kind of enjoy it. I did find some enjoyment out of this when you do see clearly Hayden Christensen underneath there, and his voice modulator is going out a little bit, so you can hear Hayden Christensen's voice, and then when he says other words, it's James Earl Jones' voice. It's kind of going back and forth, and they have a conversation, and Obi-Wan apologizes to Anakin. He says Anakin, and Darth Vader says Anakin Skywalker is dead, and Obi-Wan says, I am so sorry. And then Anakin says, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I killed Anakin Skywalker. And then Obi-Wan's just like, oh, well, then my friend is truly dead. Bye, Darth. Which is cool. If they didn't already fuck it up in part 3. If you remember, let's go back to part 3, where Darth Vader and Obi-Wan have their first encounter in this series. And Obi-Wan asks him, he says, what have you become? And Darth Vader says, I am what you made me. Okay. But how in this episode are you going to then say, Darth Vader says, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. You did not kill Anakin. I killed Anakin. What the fuck, show? Make a decision. Which one is it? Is Darth Vader what Obi-Wan made him? Or is Darth Vader what Anakin made him? What Darth Vader made Anakin? This show doesn't make fucking sense. So Obi-Wan leaves Darth Vader there. Wounded, helmet broken, and everything. Obi-Wan leaves. Which still, obviously, clearly, the Star Wars fan in me, the last fight that they had in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith on Mustafar, is a far more emotional, more intense, a better choreographed fight, a more enjoyable fight than this one was altogether. And I still have a hard time believing that after this fight that they showed us in Part 6, in the finale, how in Star Wars A New Hope, how Darth Vader would approach Obi-Wan and say, last time I was but the learner and you were the master. I don't think he would consider that the truth after what we just watched. Maybe? I mean, Darth Vader referred to him as master, but that's only when he thought that he killed him when he buried him in the rubble. Let's remember, Palpatine, the Emperor, has now been Darth Vader's master for 10 years now. This is 10 years removed after Revenge of the Sith. So, in canon, it makes sense that in Star Wars, A New Hope, that Darth Vader would say, the last time we met, you were the master and I was but the learner. That fucking makes sense. But now, it makes zero fucking sense still. Even though they tried to backtrack and justify it and show Darth Vader's weaknesses a little bit, it still doesn't make any fucking sense why Darth Vader would say that in Star Wars. Continuity's dead. Reva, the character, is a walking, breathing continuity error. This entire series was a continuity error. Lore-breaking continuity error. Should have never fucking happened under the direction of Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm. And even so, under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm, personally, I believe that this would have benefited more from being a movie, being a feature film. I believe Deborah Chow, probably it'd be wise for her to take a step back and maybe follow under the wing of Jon Favreau for a bit longer, or for maybe the rest of her career. Maybe this was a one and done for her until it wasn't fair, I think, to trust Deborah Chow, clearly somebody who doesn't know what she's doing as far as the direction or directing of these iconic characters. Very unfortunate. But we're not finished. We still have the slow, boring drag of what is Reva trying to get to Luke. So this is just more continuity breaking. Luke Skywalker is not supposed to see a lightsaber until old Ben Kenobi gives him his dad's lightsaber. Well, this isn't the case here. Reva, first of all, it is Owen and Beru have a conversation about Reva going there. How it's inevitable, how Reva is on her way to the moisture farm to kill Luke Skywalker. Uncle Owen has the great idea of calling for backup. Let's get fucking some people here to help us against this crazy bitch. But Beru says, no, we can't have anybody else get hurt. Me and you can handle her alone. Which they don't. But of course, you can't have any woman in this show listening to the advice of a man. It's gotta be the other way around. You have to have the woman tell the men what to fucking do. Just like Leia. Leia, everybody had to listen to whatever ideas or decisions that Leia made in this show. And arguably, every single one of those decisions that Leia made got them into a worse spot in a worse situation and got them into more fucking trouble with the Empire. So Owen and Beru, they open up a secret hatch in their farm. And they pull out these guns that do not look like blasters. They look like fucking shotguns. They don't look like Star Wars guns at all. But anyways, they're holding fort, waiting for Reva to show up. Reva shows up later in the middle of the night. Owen and Beru miss every single blaster shot that they take at Reva. Reva, again, let's remember, she is fucking injured. She should be dead. By the standard that was established by George Lucas via lightsaber stab, she should have been fucking dead. But Reva powers her way through, injures Uncle Owen, and makes it into the room that Luke Skywalker was hiding. Beru was also in this room where Luke Skywalker was hiding. So when Reva opens up, lightsaber ignited, Beru yells to Luke to leave. So he goes up this hatch, he climbs up this ladder and goes out the hatch. There is no defense to this. I don't care what anybody has to say about this situation. Luke Skywalker saw that lightsaber right then and there. You cannot convince me that he didn't. If you're going to say that he didn't turn around or he didn't look up, you probably liked this show. If that's the case, you probably thought this was a perfect example of what Star Wars entertainment and Star Wars media should have been. You probably think this show's a 10 out of 10, and all the power to you, but you're wrong. Luke Skywalker saw Reva's lightsaber, and then when he's leaving, running away from Reva, because Reva goes up the hatch and follows him, he turns around a few times, at least once or twice, to make sure how far away Reva was. Reva at least had her lightsaber ignited for one of those times that he turned around. Luke Skywalker is not supposed to fucking see a lightsaber, know what a lightsaber is, until Ben Kenobi fucking shows him in Star Wars. Just more Disney writers and Lucasfilm not giving a shit about the lore or continuity. So then this whole little bit doesn't really lead to anything. It's just more of Luke Skywalker running away. He falls down a cliff, knocks himself out, and then Reva's having this flashback, this traumatic experience where she wants to kill Luke Skywalker. Why? Well, don't really know. It's not really fucking explained. Why would she want to kill Luke Skywalker? Does she think that's gonna fucking get revenge on Anakin? Anakin doesn't even know this motherfucker's alive! So what the fuck's the point? She's gonna kill this 10-year-old boy because why? She thinks it's going to give her some sort of relief, some sort of revenge? She tells Uncle Owen. Uncle Owen asks her, why are you doing this? And she says, justice. Like she's fucking Batman or something? Justice? How are you getting justice by killing Luke Skywalker? Darth Vader doesn't fucking know that Luke's fucking alive! So Reva can't do it. She can't bring herself to do it. So she brings Luke back to the moisture farm. She falls on her knees and starts fucking crying. Obi-Wan is now telling her, you're free now. She's like, can I be forgiven? He's like, oh yeah, you can, she asks him, am I like him now? And he's like, no, you're your own person. You get to decide your own character. Which, of course, here we fucking go. We know that this entire show was hijacked to just shoehorn in a new Disney character that they want to promote for their next fucking show. Who they're going to have their next fucking Rey. And, of course, it's going to be Reva. We know for a fact, 100% certain, and I hope Disney makes it. Disney, if you're watching this, fucking make it. Because all of us, we're all going to watch it, not because we enjoy it, but because we're going to make weekly videos just like this one, fucking pointing out all of the fucking bullshit. So Disney, fucking go for it. Bring on the Reva series. Make it fucking 10 episodes. I would love to fucking see that. So then the show ends with now Obi-Wan, he's now wearing a more white, clean version of his Jedi drapes, looking more like he did in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He leaves his little cave that he was living in, and he goes to deliver his toy to Luke Skywalker, the spaceship toy that you see Luke playing with in Star Wars. So Obi-Wan goes to say his final goodbyes to Uncle Owen and to possibly give this toy to Luke Skywalker. And yet, here we have another arguably lore-breaking scene where Owen says, "Would you like to meet Luke?" And he does. And we're supposed to get this fucking payoff here, where Obi-Wan walks up to Luke and goes, "Hello there." Like, okay, yes, it's an iconic line, but you're baiting, you're betting on the fact that this one fucking line of dialogue is going to save the entire fucking shit show that was the previous 5 3/4 episodes of this fucking show, because this one episode takes about 20 minutes to end. It's a 50-minute long episode, but literally it ends at the 30-minute mark, and then the last 20 minutes is all just like ending. It takes fucking forever for this fucking episode to end. And of course, only at the very end of this episode do they actually start playing Star Wars tunes. You hear the Imperial March, Binary Sunset, or the Skywalker theme, whichever one it was. You get these iconic Star Wars tunes only at the very last fucking 15 minutes of the episode, and that's just Disney telling you, fuck you, fans, is really what it is. Fuck you, fans, give me your money and, watch the Ravis series. Because you got your hello there and your fucking Imperial March and the Skywalker theme. You should be happy now, you fucking man babies. Oh, I almost forgot. Leia is back on Alderaan with her parents. And now she's getting ready on her own. She's wearing Tala's blaster because Obi-Wan gave it to her. And it makes her feel tough and strong. So Bail Organa is saying, we're gonna have some visitors. Let's go out into the spaceship dock. And we're going to find out who's coming in to visit. She goes, "Oh, is it more cousins?" Well, no, of course, it's Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan had to return her droid Lola that she lent him. And here we have Obi-Wan explaining to Leia how her personality is solely based off of her DNA and who her parents were. Well, Leia didn't know who her fucking parents were. She was never raised by Anakin or Padme. Ever. She was raised by Bail Organa and Bail Organa's wife. So why is Obi-Wan saying all these characteristics, all these personality traits, how she got from Padme and Anakin when she's been raised her whole life by Bail Organa? Oh my gosh. It just didn't fucking make sense. And of course, when Obi-Wan goes to leave, you get the more fucking Jedi Skywalker theme that was from the prequels, and it's like, where was this music the entire series? Because the entire fucking music in this entire series was awful, generic. It sounded like fucking Spider-Man music from the video game. And then probably one of the biggest fuck yous of all is at the very end. Obi-Wan is riding on his space camel. And he's just going off into the dunes of Tatooine. Doesn't know where he's going, but he's leaving the fate up to the boy, up to chance. He's not going to stay around to be a hermit and watch over Luke Skywalker anymore. So on his way, we do see the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn appear. And then what Qui-Gon says, he says, "Oh, it's about time you showed up." And Obi-Wan's kind of like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, I've been waiting for you this entire time." And Qui-Gon's like, well, follow me. We got a long way to go." And he disappears. Gone. Fuck you, Lucasfilm. I hated probably 99.9% of this entire series. Very, very few positive points or stuff that I enjoyed in this series. I would say that 0.01% that I enjoyed were aspects that they did with Darth Vader. And that doesn't say much. I think final verdicts for this show, I would give Kenobi Season 1. Obi Wan Kenobi Season 1 is a solid 2 out of 10. A 2! This isn't good entertainment. Even if you don't like Star Wars, if you aren't a Star Wars person and you want to watch a good show, nobody would ever watch this show. The only reason people watch this show is because they're Star Wars fans, and Obi Wan Kenobi is their favorite Star Wars character, and they've been promised a Kenobi movie that was then turned into a TV show, that was then turned into a shit TV show, that was then hijacked and turned into a Leia Reva platform to then build a Reva spinoff show. It was the entire purpose of this Obi-Wan Kenobi show. A 2 out of 10. This show was complete dog shite from beginning to end. No Star Wars fan. If you are a fan of Star Wars, like Ewan McGregor said, I'll take Ewan McGregor's words and I'll fucking say this. If you enjoyed this show, then you are no Star Wars fan in my eyes. But with that being said, that is my opinion. Take it as it is. Take it at face value. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But other than that, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Share this video with a friend who you think would enjoy it. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. And we'll talk to you again soon.